What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mythic, and we have a very special guest on today to discuss the Green Bay Packers game. We're behind enemy lines with Luke. Before we get started, where can they find you? Go ahead and make sure to show some support.
Yeah, so my channel is called Sideline Scoop on YouTube, so you can search that, and that's where I put out all my Packers content.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Hit subscribe. We got Packers content over there, Arizona Cardinals content here. And we got a matchup that ultimately could kill our entire season. And we're playing probably one of the toughest opponents in the NFL, I would say, the Green Bay Packers. So, how are you feeling? Just overall consensus of this matchup? Because there's a lot going on with the Cardinals. We might be out our starting quarterback. Marvin Harrison just got cleared, actually, or not fully cleared, but he's actually practicing without his yellow jersey. So all signs are pointing to him playing, but Kyler out. How are you feeling about this matchup for your Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, I feel like for the Packers, I mean they're definitely one of the better teams in the NFL, and I think looking at this matchup, I just on paper, I think the Packers are a better team. The only thing in my mind that as a Packers fan has me slightly concerned is I feel like from time to time the Packers can like play down to their opponent, and I think being on the road as well. I mean, you've seen specifically like how close these Cardinals games have been, and they've been close against some really good teams. So I feel like it's going to be a close game overall. Yeah. I can give my prediction, my full-on prediction later, but that's sort of my initial thoughts.
And how are you feeling if Kyler Murray is missing this game? What quarterback would you rather face? I want the outside take here because there's a lot of quarterback controversy, if you'd even call it that right now. A lot of Cardinals fans striking for the backup to start for the rest of the season, which is crazy. What's your overall thoughts on just Kyler Murray in the state of 2025, and who do you want to face on Sunday?
Yeah, that's a good question because looking at that game against the Colts, I mean, Brissett was playing pretty good, especially in that second half. And so, I mean, just seeing how close they played the Colts and how the offense got the ball moving. I mean, I would say it's sort of close in my mind. I don't think like one way or the other. I'm like, oh, I really, really hope that Brissett is playing, or I really, really hope Kyler's playing. I feel like, I mean, I may rather play Kyler. And I feel like with Micah Parsons and his speed, he can sort of track down Kyler when he tries to run around. So, but I do think Brissett, I mean, the way he played last week, I saw some stat. He's been pretty good in his career, like not throwing interceptions. And so I'd probably rather play Kyler, but it's not like it's not a major difference. But just seeing how good Brissett played against the Colts last week.
Yeah, that hot streak. You don't know if it's going to carry over. And if it does carry over, then we might have a little bit of problems. But he had 6 incompletions, I believe, in that second half, which is crazy. Or overall, I don't remember. There's 6 incompletions through 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and that pick should have been pass interference. He was bumped off his route. And Brissett has been phenomenal at not throwing interception in his career. I don't remember what the stat was, but he was number 1 in it. Like, he does not turn the ball over. Probably one of the best backups in the league. So I'm excited for this matchup. But the Packers, they scare me. Point blank, period. Jordan Love has looked sensational. You can tell a lot of what he learned from Aaron Rodgers has translated through the years, and he's just continued to grow as a quarterback. Love what I'm seeing from him. 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, slinging that thing. He is leading the team. How are you feeling about Jordan Love in 2025? I feel like there's a lot of growth that we're seeing over these couple years.
Totally. I think he's playing like some of the best football I've seen from him. And one area where he's in his first couple seasons, he struggled a little bit when it came to accuracy, and he'd be a little sporadic at times. But so far this season, I mean, he's been much more accurate. His completion percentage is at like 70.1%, which is up about 7-8% from last year. And I think a lot of that has to do with him. Last season, he was dealing with injuries to his MCL and his groin, which I do think affected his accuracy. And he's just playing really clean football for the most part. Now, he has 2 picks, and 2 of them and 2 bad decisions. One pretty much cost them the game against the Cleveland Browns a few weeks back. But for the most part, he's probably playing the best football we've seen from him. And he's scrambling a lot. I think he had like 7 carries last week. And I mean, the Packers have one of the best third down offenses in the NFL. And that's without Christian Watson, without Jaden Reed. And so this Packers offense, really, really good. And I mean, Jordan Love is playing some of the best football in the NFL right now.
He's playing lights out, and he's passing for almost 70% in every single game. There's one game that he has not passed for 70%. That's crazy accuracy. He is dialed in. But the free agent acquisition of Josh Jacobs, speak on that, because he's transcended this team, I feel like, into a legit contender. A lot of people flack on running backs saying they're not anything that you should go out and spend on. But he seems like he is worth every single dollar that you guys threw his way a couple years ago.
Yeah, totally. And early on in the season, the Packers had some issues getting the running game going. They were dealing with some injuries to their offensive line. But, I mean, last game, Josh Jacobs really went off, like 93 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and like 50 or so receiving yards as well. And he's just a guy where even if the run blocking's not great, he can just, I mean, run through people. He's definitely been a massive add for this Packers team, and he's stayed pretty healthy pretty much the entire, I mean, for the most part of the time he's been here. And so the Packers, I mean, they love to run the ball. They run the ball a ton, which sets up, the play action pass for Jordan Love and really opens things up there. But I mean, Josh Jacobs, great signing. I love Darren Jones, but he was getting a little bit older. He was dealing with more injuries. So to move to a younger back who has, carried the ball a ton. I mean, he's a very durable back, and I mean, the Packers, wouldn't be quite the same without him.
Absolutely. And your first round pick has been pretty quiet until last week. And of course, that would happen right before Cardinals week. You got to love it. Matthew Golden just had 86 yards, and I've loved his game. I deemed him the second best receiver in this class, and you guys actually took a first round wide receiver, which you guys, I don't believe, have done in franchise history. Is that correct?
About I think it was since 2002.
2002, so it's
a long
been
time.
over 20 years.
Basically a long time, yeah.
So over 20 years. How do you feel about Matthew Golden, what he brings to this offense? Do you expect superstar, or where do you stand with Matthew Golden?
I think he's a very, very good receiver, and I think with all the receivers in Green Bay, I think that just if you just pull up the Packers stats, you'd say, oh, they don't really have someone who's dominating some other receivers where they take over a massive amount of the target share and things like that. But I think I think with Matthew Golden, I think that if if the Packers didn't have this depth at receiver and Jordan Love didn't trust all these receivers, I think that he would start going off more and more. And Matt LaFleur even talked about it this week where, he's basically talking about how, looking at this Packers receiver core, it's just sort of dependent on coverages and, who's open in the right read and things like that. So it's not like they're trying to force feed anyone. And I think that does benefit the Packers because, you never know if you're the defense where Jordan's going with the ball. But I think Matthew Golden's a very, very good receiver. He, made a few really nice plays last week, and I assume he'll start to make more and more. But I'm not sure he'll have 1,000-yard season. He sort of got off to a slow start just when it comes to receiving yards and things like that. But the Packers, they love to spread the ball around.
Yeah, I love your guys' receiving core. Kind of underrated because there's not really a name that stands out. And once you guys get healthy, because Jaden Reed's on IR, Christian Watson's missing time, and then Romeo Doubs is there with Matthew Golden. I feel like once that receiver core gets healthy, you guys are going to be kind of insane. And you guys have Tucker Kraft at tight end, who, again, very underrated. You guys on paper might not have a lot of names that stand out, but collectively as a team, I think can be very scary, especially down towards the back end stretch, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I love, love, love your guys' defense, unfortunately, because we get to play them. But Rashawn Gary, Micah Parsons, Quay Walker, Xavier McKinney, you have Javon Bullard. You have a ton of names on this defense that I feel like once you guys just kind of mesh together, like I said, in that back end are going to dominate. And Micah Parsons has been huge. He hasn't showed up in the stat sheet, but his double team rate is almost at 70%. I think the only person he's behind is who is it? Myles Garrett, if I'm not mistaken. He is a game wrecker no matter what. How big has that trade been for you, and how do you feel about this team just overall, especially trending towards that back end of the season?
Yeah, I think that trade was massive, and not only for just Micah Parsons and what he brings himself and the double teams he causes and, them having to, use running backs or tight ends to sort of, chip him and things like that. But it's also freed up everyone else because if you're deploying multiple guys to stop Parsons, that allows more opportunities to guys like Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness, who's probably going to miss this game. He got injured last week. He's been playing really good. And so, this is third year. He's really breaking out this season. He's probably going to be out this one. But, this Packers defense is very, very good. And I still feel like as time goes by and Parsons continues to, mesh with this defense as they, get used to each other, that, I think they're definitely one of the best defenses in the NFL. They have had a couple, last game against the Bengals, the second half, I mean, they shut down the Bengals the first half, and it was Joe Flacco's, first half there, had only been there a few days. The second half, it did get sort of close there at the end. And also against the Cowboys, they allowed 40 points. So it's not like they're invincible, but when they play their best football, I mean, they're very tough to stop.
Yeah, because they shut down the Commanders and Jaden Daniels early in the
Mm-hmm.
season. Like, the only reason that game was even close is because you guys started going very soft, and Jaden Daniels was picking up yards in the back. And that game wasn't as close as the scoreboard says. I think you guys ended up winning by 9. But, like, you guys have the capability of being elite, and that's what scares me. But trending away from the elite, where are the weak spots? Where can the Cardinals attack? And how do you expect the Cardinals' game plan to kind of cater to beat the Packers? If the ideal game plan was set, how do you think the Cardinals can attack your guys' weak spots, and where are they?
Yeah, I would say just because of how good this pass rush is, like looking at the game last week, the Bengals were just trying to get the ball out as fast as possible. And even with the Cowboys, I mean, Dax, I think he's a really good quarterback, and he was getting pressure, but he was just getting the ball out on time to where, the Packers couldn't get to him quite as much. And so I'd say for the Cardinals, I mean, it's tough to sit back there and hold the ball for a long period of time. And I think we saw with the Bengals, they were just sort of on the drives where they scored in the second half. It was just a lot of short passes time and time again. And so it's really tough to beat the Packers deep. And this defense has barely allowed any explosive plays. And you have Xavier McKinney back there. So I mean, he had a ton of picks last year, but no one's even like looking his way because of how dominant he's been. So I think it's just sort of a lot of quick passes and hoping that you can, sort of dink and dunk your way down the field and score touchdowns. The Packers' red zone defense hasn't been great. I think they're like 23rd in the NFL. And so that's an area where, I mean, if you can get to the red zone, the Packers haven't been great down there so far this season, but they have been dominant against the run. They're best in the NFL, only allowing 73 rush yards per game. So I'd say in this one, for the Cardinals to really like to have a chance here and win this game, I think, force a turnover or two. And I think that they can keep it close near the end and sort of have, the Packers defense sort of just fall apart in one drive where, something like that could take place.
Because I feel like the Cardinals' defense is really good in spurts. And what annoys me and frustrates me is that I feel like I know the game has been in our control every single time on the final drive, whether it's a defense just needing to step up and get a stop. All 6 games, we have had the opportunity to close it out on the final drive. I feel like Trent McBride got tackled in the end zone in the last game, but like you don't want to put it in the ref's hands, so that's tough. But the defense has had the opportunity to get us a stop, and we just failed to do so. 3 game-winning field goals straight, back to back to back, and those are 3 of your losses. That hurts. And with the whole Amari DiMercato incident and him, you can say, getting into it with his head coach, like it felt like the team camaraderie was going to die, but like they were backing for their head coach. They came out swinging, and this is a must-win game. I think we can both agree for the Cardinals sitting at 2-4.
Totally. And that's where I feel like looking at this game, the fact that it is in Arizona and the Cardinals are so desperate, I feel like they could come out and play harder to start than the Packers, just because when it's like your back's against the wall and you have to win, or because 3-4, very different than what would it be, 2-5,
2
right?
and 5.
Yeah. So that's a totally different scenario there. So that's where I feel like the Cardinals could be a little underrated in this game.
I agree 100%. So where do you stand with game predictions? What do you think the score is going to be if you had to set something?
Yeah, I'm actually going with the Cardinals in this one. I think the Packers are a better team. I just think that at times the Packers they've at times played down to their opponents and sort of let teams stay around when they shouldn't. And as we talked about a second ago with the desperation, I feel like if this game stays sort of close, the Cardinals could sort of have some life and energy near the end because they're playing so close with a team that I think is one of the better teams in the league. I just think that you never know when a team's going to come out flat, and I hope that doesn't happen as a Packers fan. But it's sort of like one of those games where you look at it and it's like you'd like to say they should 100% win, like the Packers. But then I'm like, could this be one of those games where you like the Packers somehow lose just because Arizona's like, we cannot lose this game? So I'm saying Cardinals win this 24-20.
I'm right there with you. I got the Cardinals winning 27-21. And I haven't picked for the Cardinals, I feel like, in forever. I think the last time was Tennessee, and I've been on like a massive heater. I'm getting flack from my subscribers saying, you can't pick against the Cardinals, you're bad luck. I'm picking for us, and this is like a genuine thing. I think the Cardinals are going to come out hot because they have to have it. And the thing is, if we don't, then our season kind of dies. So it's like you got to put that out there and put faith in this team. And I think they're going to rally for each other. We have a lot of good veterans here who I don't think are going to let this locker room just come out flat. And it's at home. You got fans backing you. You have to have it, point blank, period. And if we come out flat, then the season's just over at that. 2-5 is almost impossible to come back from, especially in a loaded NFC.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like if this was in Green Bay, I'd definitely going Packers. I just feel like, a really good team going on the road where they could just, if they start off flat and the Cardinals can get going quickly, it's like, quickly, if you're the Packers, you're like, oh no, like we can't be losing. And then you sort of, don't play your best. So I hope that doesn't happen, but I'm sort of part of me is feeling that way.
I'm glad you're feeling that way. Let's put that out there. Let's put all that energy out there. And if you're in Arizona, let's show some support. Let's go ahead and get a win. But I'm excited for this matchup. I feel like this is like the last time I might be able to be excited for a long time. So we'll see what happens. Last thing, do you think there's quarterback controversy in Arizona as an outsider?
Yeah, I'd say I think there is because I mean just the fact of how close Brissett played the Colts. And I know I'm pretty sure they're missing some like guys in the secondary, the Colts defense, which has been pretty good, if I'm not mistaken. But just the fact that they played them this close with Brissett, I feel like maybe is something going on here? Because Kyler, I don't think he's played like great football this year, and so I wonder even if like just bringing Brissett back this week. I mean, it looks like he probably will play, but sort of having that energy where at least you had some confidence against a really really good team. So. I feel like there is a little controversy here.
I definitely
don't
think
know.
something
Yeah.
is stemmed. Something is definitely at least peaked. There's been a little like, maybe we have to transition to this style of quarterback. Maybe he thrives somewhere else. Do you think he ends up getting traded in the offseason if the season goes flat?
That's a good question. How many years are left on his contract? Do you know?
Let me go ahead and take a look real quick. But I think
I feel like
it's
it
through
depends on like the
2028,
dead cap.
if I'm not mistaken. Let me go ahead and check.
Yeah, because I bet it depends on like what the dead cap would be if they traded him. Like if it's reasonable, I could see it.
So he
But if
becomes
it's like
a free
insane.
agent in 2029, and he has a club option in 2028.
Okay. I guess it's possible, especially like if they go with Brissett and things start going better, and like if they somehow beat the Packers with Brissett, then I'd say you're definitely in a quarterback controversy.
If Jacoby Brissett gets a win, I don't think there's any world where you can look at it and be like, hey, we just have to bring Kyler back. I think they will just to like see what is there. But like it's tough because if Jacoby Brissett has a locker room and you beat Green Bay going into the bye, that's a tough decision for the head coach to make the transition back to your quarterback you're paying $40+ million to.
Yeah, totally. But then on the other hand, if like Brissett has a terrible game and then people think, okay, it was just one-off game where he has a really good game, which any quarterback can have a day where it's like they look incredible, but it's like, can you do it consistently? So if that were to happen, then I could see him just going right back to Kyler and saying, he's our guy.
100%. I think it's a lose-lose though, because if you lose this game, like the best case for Kyler is Jacoby plays bad, the defense steps up, and you sneak away with the win. That's like the best case scenario. The worst case, Jacoby just comes out and balls, and that's not the worst case for Cardinals fans. But for Kyler, the worst case is Jacoby just comes out slinging it, kills the Packers, and then we go into the bye week. And it's like, it's hard to transition back, but it's just like the money talks, You make a ton of money, you end up playing. That's how it is.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, GMs don't want to have to, look really bad. So it's like they'll hang on longer than probably they should sometimes, but it just sort of happens.
Right, with picks, with contracts, no matter what it is, they'll force them to play. But appreciate you hopping on, Luke. Always love having you on the channel, man. Great conversation per usual. Let them know one more time where they can follow you on all social media platforms.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on again. It was fun. Yeah, you can follow me on YouTube at Sideline Scoop, and then Twitter. My username is LukeBeller3. That's pretty much that.
Go ahead, follow him. Great Packers content all season long. Cardinals content right here on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Go ahead, hit subscribe, Cardinals NFL fans. But with that being said, that is going to wrap it up. Appreciate you hopping on once again. It's been your boy, Mythic and Luke. Peace out.